What is going on? It is your boy Tre.Trades back again with another YouTube video for you guys. The video that I'm going to be going over today basically is just going to be my analysis going into next week. Next week being July 14th through the 18th. So yeah, it is Friday night. So it's currently July 11th. And the trading week's over, man. We had a good trading week for this week. Ended up making a little bit over $700 for the week across express accounts. Looking to see what we can do next week. I think next week is going to be an interesting week as far as what we see with price action based off what has been going on, right? And the fact that we have a lot of news for next week. I think Monday is going to be no news Monday, and then we'll have news being CPI for Tuesday, which would be very important for what will be my analysis going into the week. And then after that, we have PPI for that Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday is more news, probably like home sales or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head for Thursday and Friday, but I know for Tuesday CPI and Wednesday is going to be PPI. So let me just go to to the weekly time frame. We're just gonna be looking over NQ basically. Normally when trading in Q, I actually don't look at the weekly time frame. Normally I'm just gonna be looking at the daily time frame. That's just where I would start from whenever coming up with my previous day high, previous day low, and then from there I'll scale down all the way down to the 5 minute, far as like picking apart my analysis and whatnot, right? But just for this video, I will start with a weekly so you can kind of like see a more zoomed out view of what I'm expecting. Even though we are at all-time highs, I do expect NQ to drop next week. So the reason that I expect NQ to drop simply is going to be because how I talked about, we have CPI. CPI after NFP week tends to drive the market price in a pretty steep direction, whether it be a long or short position. We'll end up moving about 200 to 400 points or so during CPI. So I do think price is going to drop just simply because we have been so bullish, and it has been a lot of sell side liquidity that has been generated in the market that needs to be swept. And then also based off how we've had breakout zones that have moved around, right? So just looking at the weekly, right? If I'm looking at the weekly time frame and I'm looking at an area where we've broken out at, right? So I will have this like marked up as a zone for the weekly. Since we've broken through this previous swing high that we had going back to February 17th, right? We broke through this zone that was once resistance at a point in time, and is being used as support. But what I noticed with these candles is, all right, we created all-time highs for the week of June 30th. But for this week, what price did was we end up creating a doji candle. So this candle right here is going to be your doji candle. And normally what I see is whenever we break a zone and we create a doji candle, price is likely, the next candle that forms likely will break to the downside. So what we could see is price likely come down and retest this area right here. This what was now resistance would be known as support basically. So we could come down and retest this area, and then we can continue higher after that, taking out the all-time highs that were generated for the week. But I don't think that is going to happen. More so what I think is going to happen is that we're going to break to the downside. I specifically think it will happen on Tuesday though. And I think what will happen is we will break to the downside and we will come down somewhere in this level right here. So I think we could see something like this, right? We come down, we bounce off this, and this is going to induce people into trades. So it'll be some inducement where people will likely get tapped into long positions. So probably like people like swing traders or something like that, thinking that the market is going to go long and take out a lot of the buy side. But I think that price might bounce off of this support level, come back up a little bit, and then we get another push down. And then we go take out some of this sell side, right? So from there, right, if I want to drop down to the daily and I want to look at this, something that is to note, right? So I can take this zone off, right? Because we've already seen that. We do have some generally or relatively equal lows, which would be pretty good targets for sell side as well. Also, what is being noticed that, or what that something that I'm noticing from the market is that the last few days or basically all week we've been ranging, basically just been consolidating, sitting inside of an area, and likely whenever price does that, whenever it does break out, it's going to break out in some momentum, and I do think that's going to be to the downside, and we will take out a lot of the sell side. Something else, right? So if I'm looking at this from a breakout trader perspective, right, and I want to go down to previous time frames to look at this, so or not time frames, but just further down from like a week or two ago or something, right? Notice how whenever we broke out of this zone right here, right? So we had resistance right here. Price broke out of this, right? And then normally whenever we have a break or a breakout or something like that, what tends to happen that we'll see is price will come back to retest that area. So we broke out of this area, price came back down to retest this area. You can even draw another zone right here, right? So you can move this zone up and you can see that price broke out, came back and retested this zone perfectly off this lower high that was created, and then we pushed up. It will be the same thing for this as well, right? So in this area something, we have another zone that was formed. Price broke out of this zone right here, which was once resistance, which has now become support. Price broke out of that, came down and retested this area a few times before rallying back up to the upside some more, right? Same thing with this area. So this will kind of be, you could have like two areas in one really. And then you have the 13 EMA that you could also base price rejecting off of as well, which is something that I do when I use for another entry. But that's just something that I'm seeing from the market. However, whenever looking at this breakout right here, right? So if I want to look at this zone that was created here, notice how price does not have an immediate pullback or any type of retest off this zone yet. Price rally all the way up here. Now what I think is going to happen is we have these relative equal lows that price is going to take out, and then price is going to mitigate and fill in a lot of these gaps that were left behind, and we will come down to at least the 303 level or something like that. And I would see price filling in this from CPI or so. So just from where price is right now, all the way down to this level, that's around 600 points. So my prediction is I do think, I would say, we wouldn't have to really say over just the course of this week, but I do think it will happen this week. I think CPI is going to push us down a couple hundred points. But over this week, in the course of next week, I do see price coming back to fill in this some of these gaps that were left behind, or these fair value gaps, however you want to call them. I do see price coming back in to fill some of this in, right? Just because we have such a heavy or high impact news releases coming out for this week. I'm not sure what the week after that is going to look like as far as news, but I do think because of the ones that we do have coming out, I do think price is going to take out some of these levels. So this week coming up, I will be looking for short positions. Now, granted, if market is looking like we're about to keep on a bull run or anything like that, then I'm just gonna take buys, obviously, right? Like I'm gonna take whatever the market is presenting me for setups. However, this is my prediction. This is something that I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, since we have all-time highs, you can't really like try to say what you would want the market to do. It's best to just leave the market alone. I don't think you necessarily have to do that. I do think you have to play it safer with far as what you're trying to look for, because a lot of people have that mentality where it's okay, if we're already at all-time highs and the market has to fall, the market has to fall. I personally don't think the market has to fall, but however, based off the news events that we have and the way that price is forming and the structure that we have, I do think it will start to fall. So that is why I have the prediction for shorts going into July 14th through the 18th. And then another area that I'm looking at, right? So I have this red support level marked up for the 4 hour. Definitely if price was to come down this area, if I was like somebody like a swing trader or something like that, if price came anywhere under this zone, so like anywhere around like 807 or below, I definitely would be taking short positions. Have my stop somewhere above 021, so that's probably like 200 points or something like that from where this is at. Yeah, 219 points. I definitely would, like if I was a swing trader and I was looking to hold a trade, I would definitely be holding that, and then I would have these relative equal lows as my target to be taken out, and then it's more sell side down here as well that can be taken out. And then once we get down into this area where we were ranging anywhere from like 389 to 302, that is where I would be looking to exit the trade, because from there we could likely bounce from this area. So like if I go back to the hourly, right, and I even look at today, so looking at today's price action, looking at the hourly time frames, we're looking at support and we're looking at resistance, right? So looking at this area, I want to look at it from the 5 minute though, right? Because I feel like the 5 minute shows it better. And this is actually based off a trade that I took, right? So one of the trades that I took today that got stopped out at break even, the reason I moved my stops to break even is because I figured price could reject from the level, right? So I took a short position somewhere in this area, right? It was something like this for the short position that I took today. I was only risking like 12 or 13 points or something though, so it wasn't even a heavy risk. However, I wanted to target this 4 hour level, right? And I was thinking that we could potentially break through this 1 hour support level, targeting the 4 hour support. However, what price ended up doing was price came down and end up bouncing off of this level exactly as the same as it did previous areas where price had touched it, and immediately shot back up to the upside, right? So basically whenever trading, you just trade levels to levels, and whenever it comes to that, it's just you got to be real cautious about whatever levels you do have. So those hourly levels I think are very important when coming to trading breakouts and whatnot, right? And I just feel like based off that, if we get anywhere down below that 4 hour, I think we would sell off if we are able to break through, especially if we get a counter close through it, right? But something I definitely would just be watching is going to be those hourly time frames as well. And I did notice this week whenever I was trading that the time frames that I was basing some of my trades off of were from like the hourly and the 30 minute. I did have a 30 minute zone marked up somewhere. I think that was from a trade yesterday though, so it doesn't really matter too much. But see how some of this is from the 30 minute, but this 30 minute actually lines up with the hourly time frame that I had marked up. And yeah, they lined up perfectly actually. And then whenever we did end up getting a break in this area, I could have took a long position. I think I took 2 long positions today. Both of those ended up winning, but they weren't up in this area. I'm not sure, but either way, those high time frame zones happen to be holding pretty well. And those just basically, I'm just saying those will be something to watch for, right, for the upcoming week. But yeah, that's basically how I expect this week coming up to go for July 14th through the 18th. On my charts acting like that. But yeah, I would expect price to drop anywhere from like 200 to 400 points just based off what we have from CPI. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting to watch and to note. So yeah, that's really it. I just want to go over my chart prediction slash analysis for this upcoming week. And for anybody out there who probably like needed help with that or anything, that would be something that you could probably base some trades off of going into the week potentially. So yeah, we'll also come back at the end of this week and we'll see just exactly what price did and how right or wrong I was with my prediction. Because when it comes to chart predictions, it's really just that. It's just a prediction. Long as you have analysis or a good enough reason to back it up, then you're not really wrong in your analysis. Your prediction can be wrong, but you're not really going to be wrong in your analysis just simply because you never know what price is actually going to do. Nobody alive knows really what price is going to do who trade, especially like, or considering retail trades when I say alive, right? It's like, so the people who don't actually move the market, being myself and other people who are probably watching this video, we actually don't know what the market is going to do. All we can do is make a prediction, and then we react based off what we expect the market to do from what we predicted, basically. So that's all it is, man. And that's all I got for this video. So until next time, on a better living.